Before I get into my Impact Wrestling Redemption pay-per-view review and recap, I want to say something, and I want every single Impact Wrestling diehard to listen to what I'm going to say. And listen carefully and watch closely. I am happy that Impact Wrestling in 2018 are doing more than 2 pay-per-views a year. Normally, they do Slammiversary and Bound for Glory, and that's it. And I know what you're going to tell me right now in the comment threads or on social media. At Heel Steven, by the way. But Steve, Impact Wrestling does pay-per-views, throughout the year. They're called one night only. But here's the thing. Those do not count. I'm sorry. One night only, 9 times out of 10, are shows that are done at the tapings and they place them together with zero build and no meaning whatsoever. So I'm sorry, those do not count. But nonetheless, I am happy that they're doing more than 2 pay-per-views a year. I am happy to know that Impact Wrestling has a working relationship with AAA. Through that, they're able to work with Lucha Underground like they did at WrestleCon during WrestleMania weekend. And like tonight, we saw the likes of Drago, Aerostar, Pentagon Jr., Phoenix, Brian Cage, Taya Valkyrie, just to name a few. I'm surprised tonight we didn't see John Morrison, or Johnny Impact, or Johnny Mundo, whatever the hell you want to call him. But you kind of get the idea. But above all else, I am happy to know that Impact Wrestling in 2018, despite all the BS that this company has gone through, that they are still considered an option for men and women to go and work. A place where people can go and showcase their craft to the entire world. Think about this. 2018 professional wrestling outside of WWE. There's places where people can go. A plethora of places where people can go. Whether it be Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AAA with Lucha Underground, Pro Wrestling Noah, Evolve, and of course Impact Wrestling, and there's a bunch of other places to go, okay? You kind of get the idea. But I'm happy to know that Impact is considered in somewhat as an option. Now notice, I am praising Impact here. I'm praising it. I'm putting it over, if you will. But notice all this that I'm saying, and Impact diehards are completely going to ignore it and put the blind eye to it, as if I've considered this as blind hate. Because let's be real about it. Let's keep it 100, motherflowers. Redemption tonight, was it really worth $40? No. I feel sorry for all you motherflowers that actually forked over $40 for what I would consider a somewhat solid pay-per-view at best. Don't get me wrong, there was some good wrestling here and there, but nonetheless, it just felt like, a show that really wasn't worth $40. And this is the thing as well, okay? Professional wrestling, the pay-per-view industry, or the pay-per-view business for wrestling, I felt like it's dead. WWE, you can say, has killed it with the WWE Network. Think about this, I'm surprised that Impact Wrestling charged people $40, right, to order that through a cable provider or through the Fight TV, but yet they have their sort of streaming service, the Global Wrestling Network, where people, they pay $10 a month, they go through old content of Impact Wrestling whenever they choose to, and yet they have not aired that pay-per-view, this pay-per-view in particular, live through that service. I'm going to say this right now. Slammiversary coming up in July needs to stream live through the Global Wrestling Network. There is no reason whatsoever a wrestling fan in 2018 is forking over $40 for a pay-per-view. Unless you are going to a show live and you're buying a ticket to attend the show, that's a complete different story. Okay? And notice I'm saying this and, they're going to come out the woodwork saying, oh, how dare you say that? That's not right. Screw you. Blind hate. But yet, moments ago, I was praising it. But yet, that gets ignored. That's the problem with a lot of Impact Wrestling fans. You know, they complain that fans are negative, but yet when we praise it, when we put it over, they don't mention that. They ignore it. Essentially what I'm saying, you know, Impact Wrestling fans, they hate negativity from whether it be a YouTuber, whether it be a podcaster out there, whether it be a wrestling blogger or these so-called reporters, if you will. But yet, they are the ones that search the negativity on their own. And my advice would be, maybe you should stop doing that. Let the shit be. Overall, though, I thought Redemption tonight, like I said, was a solid show. Just not worth $40. But that's my opinion. I want to hear from you. Down below in the comments of this video, what your thoughts on the show. If you liked it, if you hated the show, what have you, let me know. Or if not, on Twitter at HeelSteven. Alright? Before the show even took place, on Twitter, Impact Wrestling debuted the new championship belts for the pay-per-view. As you all know, they got new belts, period, and shit like that. So, they showed on Twitter the new X Division Championship that you see right there. It's similar to the old one, I will say. It's similar, but it doesn't have that giant Impact plate like the old one did. They showcased the new Knockouts Championship as well. It has that Battle Dome, Lucha Underground, Gift of the Gods look there. Had little center coins on the side plates and shit like that, little medallions. But, you know, it's a solid belt. You know, again, they had to get rid of the old GFW belt with the fucking giant plate, so I'm happy for that. And, of course, they showcased the brand new tag team titles. Has a nice look to it. I like the Eagles on the top and the bottom. I'm not going to lie. I like the design. And, of course, the brand new world title. I think is a nice looking belt, in my honest opinion. See, I'm praising TNA again, and I'm praising it again. Impact Wrestling yet. It's going to get ignored. All right? It's going to get ignored, I guarantee you. So, overall, the show, again, I thought was solid. It kicked off with Aerostar versus Drago. Again, is that showcasing the Lucha Underground here. I thought, you know, they had a very good, solid match to kick off the show. The crowd was into this. People were making noise. Good spots here. I will say this, yeah, there were some botches here and there. One thing that I noticed a lot in this match, that Aerostar had troubles with his mask, because like literally after every single spot, he would literally try to adjust his mask after every single spot. All right. That being said, though, at the end of the whole thing, there was this giant botch. Again, it happens. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure these guys are not accustomed to the Impact Wrestling ring. It is what it is. So they had to fix the finish, if you will. But it was all said and done, Aerostar got the win. And again, I'm happy to see Aerostar and Drago being showcased at this platform of a pay-per-view. So good for Lucha Underground as well. And again, I thought this was a very good, solid way to kick off the show. All right. And then we had Eli Drake and Scott Steiner versus LAX for the tag team championships. As you all know, Eli Drake has cashed in his Feast or Fire briefcase. Before the match, though, there was a video promo with LAX. Apparently, Conan or K-Dog has been, you know, kidnapped or have you. And they were mad about this. Santana and, yeah, it was Santana. And I'm fucking having a brain freeze right now. It was a Cruz Santana. If I'm botching the name, I apologize. And I'm going to say this too. I like the new reincarnation of LAX. I really, really do. I think overall, it's something that, again, these two guys, you know, are just tearing it up right now with under the new LAX look. And the match, for what it was, I'm going to say this, okay? It wasn't, from a wrestling perspective, I'll give credit for LAX to, you know, put over Scott Steiner, taking bumps for Steiner. Steiner isn't so-called a spring chicken like he used to be many years ago, but Steiner held his own. The one crazy spot that Steiner did, he did a Frankensteiner from the top turnbuckle at age 55. Holy shit. Holy crap. For someone of his age, just think about that for a minute. I thought for a minute he was gonna fucking land on his head. Thankfully, did not. It looked like LA was gonna have the win, but for some reason, I want to say, I think it was Santana or Cruz. If I'm botching the name, I apologize. All right. Went to the outside and attacked Scott Steiner instead. Eli Drake hit the gravy train for the 1-2-3. And Eli Drake and Scott Steiner are now the new tag team champions. Literally, it's crazy to think. In 2018, Scott Steiner, 55-year-old Scott Steiner, is a champion in Impact Wrestling. You can tell he's taking a paycheck. I'll say that at this point in juncture, you might as well bring in the whole main event mafia. I get where people are sort of frowning on it. You know, hey, here's this young LAX, Santana, and Ortiz. There you go. It's Ortiz and Santana, right? Ortiz and Santana, these two young guys that needed that win, what have you. But at the same time, let's be real about it. Impact Wrestling had been really, really heavily pushing Scott Steiner through social media, putting out his video promos from back in the day and shit like that. So you kind of had to know that, hey, they were going to eventually somehow have him win. And I'll be honest here, I personally thought that Eli Drake was going to turn on Scott Steiner. Because if you're real about it, does Eli Drake really need the tag titles right now? Absolutely not. Because as you all know, he also has the Feast of Fire briefcase for the world title. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes down the road. We had, after this, Brian Cage versus DJZ versus Trevor Lee versus Taji Ishimori versus El Hijo de Fantasma versus Desmond Xavier in a 6-person X Division match under Lucha rules. I'll be honest, I feel like this match was a complete spot fest of a match. Like, Brian Cage had that look in his face, like, why the fuck am I booked in this meaningless match? The way I looked at it, right? Brian Cage, was pushed as this next monster, the Machine, right? He beat Bobby Lashley. He beat Eli Drake at WrestleCon. There's momentum. I predict, in my honest opinion, come Slammiversary, it's going to be Brian Cage versus, whoever is the world champion. In this case, Pentagon for the world title. That's the vibe I get, But putting him in this meaningless match, essentially, again, he took bumps here and there, for no reason whatsoever. Because the way I look at it, if you're a Machine, right, you should beat these guys just like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, essentially, Brian Cage on his own beat most of the X Division. He pinned, of all people, he pins Desmond Xavier. You mean to tell me you could not pin El Hijo de Fantasma? You could not pin Trevor Lee? Who, I'm going to say this too, right? I said this on Twitter. I feel like Trevor Lee is like the most laziest person on the roster. Like, bruh, he's wearing the same gear since he debuted on Impact, the same gear that he wore on the Indies. Bruh, you're on pay-per-view. You're on pay-per-view, bruh. Can you at least update your gear? And before you throw the whole, oh, but you didn't say shit during Roman Reigns and Raw, at least I did on Twitter. All right? But the point of the matter is, bro, you're on pay-per-view. You're on a big platform here for your company. At least, have that special gear and shit. You know what I mean? At least, Aerostar came out with some fucking lights on his mask and shit that were lighting up during the match. He didn't even sign to the company, if you will, and he showcased some special gear and shit. You know what I mean? Just saying. Nonetheless, Brian Cage got the win, which, again, just a spot fest match. Whatever. We had Taya Valkyrie versus, for some reason, Kiera Hogan. I thought it was going to be Rosemary versus Taya Valkyrie here. But, again, this is just a throwaway match. This was literally the piss break of the show. Just a whatever match. Tessa Blanchard was on commentary for this. So Tessa Blanchard is now on Impact Wrestling. I know people were kind of mad about it. Why did she go to NXT? I'll be honest, I'm all for this decision. I am all for Tessa Blanchard to be on Impact Wrestling. It's a name. Why the hell not? On commentary, she was going at it with Josh Matthews, Don Callis. By the way, commentary tonight was Don Callis and Josh Matthews. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Okay? Even though I thought they're going to bring in Kevin Kelly, but they didn't do that. But nonetheless, at the commentary tonight, just Don Callis on his own, kept it together. But in commentary, Tessa Blunt talked about how she beat everybody in the indies. She kept repeating the same shit over and over and over again, but essentially she got the point across, if you will. At the same time, though, I'm going to say this too. Taya Valkyrie is like the Reina of luchas and shit like that. And you have Tessa Blanchard show up and take the shine away, if you will, from the match, from the women there. I'm going to say this too. I thought Kiera Hogan did not belong in the ring with Taya Valkyrie. I thought she looked green as all shit. But nonetheless, Valkyrie got the win. That's all that really mattered, I guess, right? But I thought for certain we're going to get Rosemary versus Taya Valkyrie. What happened to Rosemary? Did she get hurt? If she got injured or some shit like that, let me know in the comment threads, all right? Or if not, on Twitter. We had Matt Sydal versus P.D. Williams for the X Division Championship. I thought this match, honestly, was a very, very solid match. The crowd seemed into it. Josh Matthews on commentary putting over Matt Sydal, of course, that's his guy. He's managing. He's a spiritual, student, whatever. P.D. Williams had a good video package before this as well. How it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since he's been X Division champion. How he wants to be champ again. How the first person he hit the move on the Canadian Destroyer was on P.D. Williams and all that. And what's funny too, before the match, there was an interview backstage, and we got the unity, if you the reuniting, if you will, of Scott Steiner and P.D. Williams. And they were going at it back and forth. I thought it was funny as all shit. All right, at the end of it, P.D.'s like, crack a barrel after the show. And then Scott Steiner was like, yeah, bring your wife. I thought that was funny as all hell. But again, it was all said and done, right? P.D. Williams does hit the Canadian Destroyer, but obviously Matt Sydal rolls out of the ring. And next thing you know, Matt Sydal picked up the win. He retained the championship. I'll be honest, I thought P.D. was going to win. To get that good moment. Oh my God, 10 years later, shit like that. But again, it is what it is. We had OVE. We had Sami Callihan, Dave and Jack Christ, whatever, versus Eddie Edwards, Moose, and Tommy Dreamer. I'm going to say this. This is what I would have done, honestly, if I was booking this show. If you want to have a special attraction singles match, maybe done Moose versus Brian Cage. Because essentially, this is literally Sami Callihan still versus Eddie Edwards. They had that last person standing match at WrestleCon, or they had the I Quit match, whatever the fuck it was. And they threw in the towel for Eddie Edwards, so there was really no finish to that. Okay? They're adding now, I guess, the friends and loved ones of Eddie Edwards. And for what it was, I thought, honestly, the match was an okay style of hardcore match. Because, again, this was a House of Hardcore match. There's a moment in the match where Moose does like a tope con helio, and he lands right on the ladder for someone his size. Like, holy crap, There was a moment as well where Moose, he goes for like a splash outside the ring. And as he's landing on one of the guys from OVE, the other guy from OVE does a cutter at the same time the Moose lands on the table. So that was another fun spot. There was tacks involved, thumbtacks, if you will. But for some reason, the ending just felt to me very, very anticlimactic. So literally, it's Tommy Dreamer getting low-blowed by Sami Callihan and then getting rolled up for the 1, 2, 3. But even after that, okay, I thought it was better than the match itself, the ending of this. Eddie Edwards goes in with the kendo stick and starts going off on Sami Callihan, ties him up to the ring ropes, starts whacking at him and shit, right? Because he is sort of broken. Like, fuck, he has breaking point. And he starts beating the fuck out of Sami Callihan. The referee wants him to stop, and he doesn't. He just, again, hits the referee. Tommy Dreamer tries to break up as well. And then Eddie's like, you know more about this than I do. You know what this is like. Had sort of that, like, reminiscence of back in ECW when the Sandman was tied up to the ring ropes and shit, and Raven was beating the fuck out of him. Or if not, you know what? I'll take that back. It reminded me a lot when the Sandman beat up Tommy Dreamer with the kendo stick back in like early 90s and shit. And Tommy Dreamer was like, can I have another one? And he kept whacking at him and whacking at him and whacking at him. Keep this in mind. Sami Callihan is bleeding from the face, just bleeding buckets, right? And then out comes Alyssa Edwards, the wife of Eddie Edwards. And as Eddie goes to turn around, the kendo stick hits his wife as well. She goes down. She goes, everyone goes insane. Like, holy crap, how did this happen, right? And the funny part about all of this, I'm going to say it, you had the EMTs, doctors, medical staff come out in scrubs, complete scrubs, to check up on Alyssa, obviously. But yet here is Sami Callihan bleeding profusely, who got literally the fuck beat out of him and shit, and there's nothing for him. Talk about equality, I'm just saying. But I give them A for creativity there, with the scrub shit and all that. Again, I thought the ending after the match was better than the match itself, but this is far from over. Hopefully at the next pay-per-view at Slammiversary, there's a closing to this with Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan. We'll see. Maybe a Monsters Ball. I don't fucking know, but we'll see. We had the Knockouts Championship match. We had Ali versus Su Yung with Braxton Sutter or Pepper Parks at ringside. I thought this match, honestly, was there. I really wasn't big into the match. I personally thought Su Yung was going to win. I'm not going to lie. But the way they're building this shit up, Ali's finally overcoming her fears. Braxton got involved at ringside. I thought that was going to cost Ali the championship, and it did not. Ali instead, after she got hit with that switch exchange explosion, where the fuck Su Yung calls that finishing move. Oh my god, the hate's gonna be fucking real. And Ali just rolls her up for the 1-2-3 and retains the championship after the match. So literally the story here, hey, she overcame the whole adversity. So she literally, by a hair, escaped Su Yung, if you will. And then after this, when the match is all over, right, Su Young's like screaming crazy and shit like that, and Braxton's like, hey, we can make this better. I can fix it. We can fix it. He's like, I love you. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. You make me happy. And he decided to propose to Su Yung, which then Su Yung hit the red mist on Braxton Sutter, then hit the Man of a Claw to wrap that up. I guarantee you there's somewhere medical staff in Orlando where Braxton Sutter's proposing to. Just saying, you know. And I'll be real about it too. I feel like the Knockouts division, to me that is, right? I know she's been retired now for almost a year. But to me, it still screams out the Gail Kim division. I don't know about you guys, but that's what it looks like to me. It's still the Gail Kim division, if you will. Okay? Then we had the main event. We had Austin Aries versus Phoenix versus Pentagon Jr. for the Impact World Championship. I thought this match was pretty fun. Real, to be honest. I thought this was a very fun match. Similar to the WrestleCon match. They had promos for both Pentagon Jr., Phoenix before the match as well. Even Austin Aries. Austin Aries has now another world title to add to the collection. But again, I thought it was a fun match here. Just the crazy spots, the lucha style, the high flying spots here as well by all three guys. There was an ending of the match where both Phoenix and Pentagon take out Austin Aries with the super kicks, and it was down to Phoenix and Pentagon, and at the end of it all, Pentagon Jr. does like a double finish. So he has on him, like on his back, he has Phoenix, and at the other side he has Austin Aries ready for the package pile driver, right? And he hits the move on both guys at the same. Keep this in mind too, early in the match as well, Austin Aries hit a 450 on both guys as well for a near fall. But Pentagon hits this finisher on both guys at the same time. And then he goes for his patented, arm move where he moves the arm back and breaks the arm of Austin Aries, which, by the way, he did not even sell at the end. And then Pentagon hits the package pile driver on Austin Aries for the 1-2-3. And Pentagon Jr. is now the new Impact champion in Impact Wrestling. Who would have thought, right? And I'll be real about it. I'm all for it. I'm happy for this. I think it's a good move. Let's be real about it, I personally thought the way it was going to go with Alberto and Austin Aries, that Alberto was going to get the belt anyway. So, you think about it, Pentagon Jr. is a better choice than Alberto El Patron, leaps and bounds. And again, it's them with this partnership with Lucha Underground. I get what people are saying, they should have not had the Lucha Underground person go over the homegrown Impact guy, what have you. I get that too. But at the same time, though, it's that curveball, as like you didn't see it coming. And nonetheless, I'm all for it. I think it's a good move. Overall, I thought Impact tonight, or the pay-per-view Redemption as a whole, was a solid show, just not worth $40. Keep this in mind. In this review, I sort of praised it more than critiqued it in some aspects, but still, Impact fans are going to come on here, you're so negative in what you're saying and shit like that. take a chill pill seriously, all right? That wraps it up for me, guys. I want to hear from you down below in the comment of this video. What have you? Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. By the way, guys, we got that merch over on Teespring. We got the Certified Mother Flower shirt, also the T-Mail Podcast shirt as well. I want to give a big thank you. By the way, guys, get your shirt over at Teespring. That's teespring.com/store/T-Mail Podcast 3. Links in the description. Before I wrap up this video, I want to give a big thank you to the homie himself, Salrex, official Salrex, for the awesome overlay that you see in this video. If you are a YouTuber, a podcaster out there, and you want awesome layouts, awesome, overlays and logos done for your channel, for your podcast, hit him up on Twitter. He's done awesome stuff, not just for me, but for OKFabe, for JD from NY206, for Solomon, the Solomon Sounds Off Wrestling Podcast, Big Mike from Big Mike Wrestling Recap Show, just to name a few. So go hit him up. Tell him you want awesome layouts as well. Links to his Twitter down below in the description box. All right, guys, that's it for me, guys. I am out. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, Mother Flowers. It's me. It's Steve. It is wrestling and whatever. Mother Flowers.